I'm here with Joe Rotella, and Joe has brought this amazing lamp. I love it, and it's got a secret inside.
We used aluminum foil on cardstock to put on the top and bottom to help the light reflect inside. And inside is a battery-operated light, even in its original packaging. We didn't even unpack it.
I think that's brilliant. I mean, it's literally just in its packaging.
And the sides of this are what make it cool, because you can change them out based on your decor of the season. We just printed on vellum or acetate, and they slide into grooves on those pieces. So let's go ahead and get started. I only need two tools, a chop saw and a table saw. And the base is a 7x7 base that I just picked up at a craft store, and I used one for the bottom and one for the top. Now we're gonna make 8 of those little segments that go along the base and around the top. And I've got the chop saw already set up. It's about 5 inches, and I've got a stop there for it. I've done a couple already, so I'm just gonna clamp it in, and I'll give them to you. How about you sand some as we go?
Yes, and you gave me instructions for sanding, and you said the important thing about sanding is not to unsquare the ends. You simply want to gently rub it on the sandpaper to go ahead and just knock off any splinters that might be there, but remaining, you know, and keeping it square.
Absolutely. So I've got enough of these to get us started, I think. But really, it's best to cut all 8 at the same time, because then you know they're going to be exactly the same.
Well, I was going to say also, you've already done the work of putting the guide out. You already have it there, so it's like you might as well. You could do a huge assembly line, and you could actually make a ton of these. I think they'd be great for a wedding. I feel like they'd be great for an outdoor party. You could customize it with people's names or anything like that. It would be really lovely.
So do we have 8 over there? Are we good?
If I can count, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh, we have extra.
You're an
We're good.
overachiever, my friend.
So the next thing we're going to do is cut what I would call the columns. And the columns, a little tip here, I would make them about 8 inches or less.
And the reason for that?
Well, if you think about it, we're going to print on vellum or on transparency paper, and most people's printers at home will hold 8.5 by 11. So as long as you stay under that 8.5 mark, and I'm just trying to gauge like where this is, and then I'm setting the stop to be at that length. And again, the important part is that all 4 columns or uprights are the exact same length. So I'm going to cut that. And how about we make a set of grooves, and then I'll come back to doing the rest of these.
Okay, because I was going to say, I love the grooves. I think that interchangeable factor is so cool.
So I'm going to use my table saw. I've set the blade to be about 1/8 of an inch, so it's very, very shallow. And I've set the rip fence to act as a guide. So when we go ahead and turn this on, now we're going to guide this through. And I want to be sure that I'm holding it down. I don't want to put my fingers above the blade, though. That's what this little tool is great for.
It's pushing it through to keep it safe.
It's pushing it through to keep us safe. And can you see the little groove?
That's super cool.
And now we need to do the same thing,
but a
in another
90-degree angle.
Absolutely.
So you've turned it 90 degrees in order to create the groove on the other side.
Absolutely.
Very cool. So I'm actually going to begin assembling this. And I know that you said that when you assemble at home, you use wood glue, but there isn't time for that to dry. So just for the sake of understanding the assembly, I'm going to go ahead and use some hot glue.
And you might be tempted to use a screw or nail, but if you put one in the center, this could spin. And if you try to put 2, I'm afraid it's so tiny it'll split.
What a good idea. Okay, so the first piece of this, I know you told me, just goes straight on the edge, right?
In the center of a side.
Eyeball it in the center of a side. I hope I'm doing this the correct way, but you said it was easy.
Great.
And then you said the post goes with the grooves going in. So if you cut some more posts and make some more grooves, I will keep assembling. But that's really important, obviously, in order for the panels to go in. These grooves have to be towards the center. So I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue to make that magic happen, just like that. So how many of these lamps have you made, Joe?
Well, I have a whole bunch in progress, because once I set up the chop saw at home, then I like to make a bunch, because I get the guide right, the stop, and I can just kind of, you know, zip through it pretty quickly.
So why don't you make another groove for me, and I will put on the other post. you gave me a really good hint about assembly. You said don't put all 4 posts on because you're not sure if your base is square. So go ahead and make the opposing sides and kind of keep working your way around the piece until you're sure that everything is going to snug up together.
Absolutely. And I want to make sure to get our grooves in there. And
that looks fabulous. So now I'm ready to think about exactly which side does my groove go on. And I remember the grooves have to go towards the center as if they're pointing in, and that guarantees that I can slip my little panels in and out. So I know this is just temporarily held together for a moment.
So once you're done, then I would measure the sides, and that's how you're going to print your panels. And I put a piece of acetate or mylar, you know the old report cover plastic things?
Actually, you can see that right in the lamp if you open it up. I was going to say, obviously, there's the vellum right there, the printed vellum. You can take it all the way out. There's that great bird. But then right here is a clear piece of acetate that's sort of holding everything in. It's a really great idea. Super charming.
And if you're nervous about getting the grooves right, one by one, just hold the posts here and mark with a pencil where the insides are, and then you can line those insides up. Because you get confused, do I turn 90 this way, 90 this way? That's really the safest way. And I think a cool background is to take and print on a sheet of acetate, or you could even use an electronic cutting machine, cut vinyl, and then dab alcohol ink on it. That's how we did the fairy.
Tell me about the top. How did you assemble this?
So the top is the exact same component that we used as the base.
This base.
Except flipped the other way. And then that's 7 by 7, one that's 5 by 5, which is a little smaller. And then this is a finial that you normally would put on the end of a curtain rod.
Oh, clever. So you've just used wood glue to put them all together. Yep. Hold it on. You've got that foil right on the inside to create a reflector. I love this. And you know what? I can see all kinds of uses for making fabulous lamps.
That can change anytime.
Yeah, it's super cool. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.